Then let us set aside the pedantry of proof, and speak of the thing as it is known to those who have looked too long into dim mirrors. I have been asked, more than once, what I believe concerning the being called the King in Yellow. Some ask in the manner of scholars, with ink-stained fingers and bright, acquisitive eyes, as though the matter were a puzzle to be fitted neatly within a cabinet of taxonomy. Others ask in fear, after long nights of poor sleep, when music once heard refuses to leave the mind, and every yellow banner seems to stir though there be no wind. A few ask in bitterness, having lost friends or reason, or both, to his passing influence. To all of them, I give much the same answer. Beware the comfort of simple explanations. The King in Yellow is not made smaller by naming him. Among the vulgar, he is imagined as some singular phantom monarch, a masked tyrant, pacing the shores of black and alien lakes beneath a tattered pall. Among cultists, he is adored as revelation incarnate, the final sovereign before whom all crowns must crack and all identities be unmade. Among theologians and cunning men, there persists the notion that he is merely one more fiend, one more ambitious power from outside the ordered heavens, dreadful perhaps, but comprehensible. I tell you now that each of these views contains a morsel of truth and a great loaf of error. The King in Yellow is best understood not first as a person, though he may appear as one, nor as a god, though men have worshipped him, nor as a devil, though his bargains are perilous. He is, rather, a mode of intrusion. He enters by symbol, by dream, by song, by masked inversion, by the loosening of distinctions that ought to remain firm. He comes when the threshold between seeming and being is made thin. He comes where language frays, where beauty curdles into fixation, where the mind reaches for forbidden pattern and finds it reaching back. This, I think, is why so many who encounter his spoor speak first, not of a face, but of an atmosphere. A tune cannot be forgotten. A sign appears where no sign was before. A sermon turns by degrees from piety to pageantry, and from pageantry to blasphemy. An honest man begins to speak in images not his own. A murder is done for no profit. A clown in yellow appears in dreams, ridiculous and terrible, and the dreamer wakes not relieved but marked, as if mockery itself had acquired sacramental force. Such things are not incidental to the king. They are his heraldry. I have come to believe that what men call Carcosa is not merely a place, though it may indeed be that. It is also a condition of reality when subjected to his dominion. The world becomes theatrical, estranged from itself, draped in significance like a corpse in festival cloth. Under his influence, meaning does not vanish, it multiplies malignantly. Everything becomes portent. Every reflection accuses. Every song conceals a second song beneath it. This is why the weak-minded fall quickly, yet the strong and learned are not safe. Indeed, they may be more vulnerable, for they possess wider chambers in which obsession may echo. Yet here the matter darkens further. For if the King in Yellow were only a power of dissolution, the wise course would be plain. One would oppose him in all things and think no more on it. But the world is not arranged according to the convenience of moral clarity. We live in Orodorn, a land already cracked by elder wounds, a realm adrift upon the black dream, its soils rich in forgotten cataclysm. Beneath us, if the oldest and foulest testimonies be credited, lies not merely darkness, but imprisoned darkness. Choronzon, whom some call the chained oblivion, the devourer, the unmaking at the root of all endings. If this be true, and I fear very much that it is, then our predicament is not that one horror seeks us, but that horrors contend over our fate. It is in this light that the King in Yellow becomes most difficult to judge. For I am persuaded that he is no loose and wandering spectre, but a mask, or hand, or emanation of Hastur, called also Astur in older and less merciful recensions. Hastur, half-brother to Choronzon, betrayer of that abyssal kin, watcher at the walls of a prison made from world and wound and age. If this is so, then the king in yellow may spread madness, not in service to the prisoner, but in rivalry with him. That is a hard saying, and I do not offer it lightly. Evil may oppose a greater evil without becoming good. The wolf will fight the winter hunger, yet still devour the flock. Consider Ulcaster. That old spider of the hidden arts did not merely traffic with random powers for vanity's sake, as lesser historians suppose. He served, or at the least corresponded with, the Yellow King. His halls bore the tincture of that allegiance plainly enough to eyes trained in dread. And yet from Ulcaster came devices and principles not of release, but of disruption. Those strange engines now called etheric scramblers, fashioned to confound alignments, to snarl the harmonics by which greater ruptures might be made. What are we to make of this? That the servant of the Yellow King labored to strengthen, not shatter, the barriers hemming in the chained oblivion. Therein lies the whole bitter knot. For a time the King in Yellow seemed bent on thwarting those who now bear Ulcaster's legacy forward. Biokeys were sent, or at least stirred. Dreams were troubled. Warnings came in grotesque guise, not as counsel, but as harassment. The Yellow Clown, capering on the edge of sleep, may have been mockery, threat, test, or invitation. With such beings one must allow for all four at once. But later the posture changed. Opposition softened into parley. Hindrance gave way to proposal. A bargain was intimated. Many a fool, hearing this, would say, "Ah, then the King in Yellow has turned ally." Let that fool be buried quickly, for he is already half dead. Powers of this order do not become allies as men understand the word. They become convergent. Their designs may, for a season, run alongside our need. That is not friendship. That is not trust. It is merely the temporary overlap of different hungers. And yet one must not, from pride, reject every offered instrument. If Balthus Dire advances toward the liberation of Choronzon, if the scar widens, if the old chains groan, then all who would preserve the world must reckon with the fact that the King in Yellow may possess knowledge, means, or permissions unavailable elsewhere. The hand extended from Carcosa wears gloves, to be sure, but the fire at our back is no less real for that. Thus the wise man's burden is not simply to refuse, nor simply to accept, but to discern the price hidden beneath the phrasing. What does the King in Yellow want? Not, I think, the crude annihilation coveted by Choronzon's truest servants. Ruin, yes. Confusion, certainly. The enthronement of strange aesthetics and the spread of spiritual infection, beyond doubt. But utter oblivion? No. A kingdom requires subjects, however altered. A stage requires witnesses, though they be mad. Hastur's mask in yellow would preserve the world, if only to rewrite it into a form fit for his pageant. Choronzon would tear down stage, audience, actors, and script alike. This is why I say the King in Yellow is not salvation, even when he opposes damnation. He is the lantern carried by one who would keep you from falling into the abyss only that you may better see the palace of your captor. I do not counsel despair. Despair is another mask by which the enemy enters. Nor do I counsel purity of the sort that refuses all compromise until the heavens themselves descend to applaud. We are too deep in the elder game for childish scruples. But neither do I counsel surrender of judgment. Let those who would deal with the Yellow King do so as men crossing a marsh by rotten planks, lightly, watchfully, and without ever forgetting what lies beneath. The coming days may force such choices upon us. Balthus Dire moves toward a consummation he scarcely understands. The devices wrested from Ulcaster's legacy may prove essential. the signs multiply, dreams grow crowded. There is music in the margins of things, and somewhere beyond the last decent stars, I do not doubt, the king in yellow watches with patient amusement to see which way the board shall tilt. If we must take his bargain, let it be with open eyes. If we must thwart him, let it be without naivete. If we must learn from him, let us remember that every lesson from such a tutor seeks to make the pupil resemble the master. For that, in the end, is his deepest victory. Not that men die for him, nor that they sing his songs, nor even that they open doors best left shut. It is that they begin to look upon the warped and the ghastly and the irreconcilable and call it wisdom. I have seen too much to make that mistake. Let Choronzon remain chained. Let Balthus Dire be opposed with all the craft and courage that can be gathered. Let Ulcaster's engines be turned to the preservation of the world, if preservation is still granted to us. But let no one say, when this tale is told, that the king in yellow was ever merely friend or foe. He is a king only in the sense that pestilence is a king, or winter, or fate. He reigns where men admit him. He enters where the soul is made into a theater. And though his hand may for a moment bar the greater darkness at the gate, it does not follow that one should kiss the ring. For yellow is still the color of warning, of old paper, of fever, of leaves preparing to die.
The shore, the cloud waves break, the twin suns sink behind the lake, the shadows lengthen in Carcosa. Strange is the night where black stars rise and strange moons circle through the skies, but stranger still is lost Carcosa. Songs that the Hyades shall sing, where flap the tatters of the king, must die unheard in dim Carcosa. Soul, my voice is dead. Die thou unsung as tears unshed shall dry and die in lost Carcosa.